Now, as I try to sort of understand what parenting is, I found it very fruitful to look at my relationship with my parents and my experiences with them. And the more I look into this, the more I understand how complex this whole thing is, and also how little I know. And the most striking of all, like in the last couple of days, was this experience where I sort of understood how difficult simple things can become, and especially regarding something you do out of love, that step by step becomes obligation. And that raised the question if love even can exist without freedom. I don't think it can. Who knows? Now, to dive deeper into this, I will tell you this story that happened to me. And it's a story I sort of explained in the last video already. It all started when I noticed that visiting my mom is so much tougher than it should be. And I like visiting my parents. Well, at least I did like it, or at least I thought I did, until I realized that do I do it because I want to or because I have to? And there are these little things, like in every conversation I have with her on the phone, or in a lot of conversations, she's like, hey, come over. And it's not just a come over like, yeah, whenever you feel like it. It's just, I get this feeling that I really want you to come over, like in a needy way. And of course, to help her and make her feel good, I do it. But if before I kind of did it because I wanted to, now it feels like I have to. And this takes away the easiness. This makes it feel tough. This makes it feel hard. This makes it feel like I'd rather do something else. And it all comes from this simple question. Why doesn't it feel easy? Because it's a beautiful thing to do. But when pressured, or when I feel obliged to, the beauty of it fades, and instead all that remains is rage and dissatisfaction and discontent. You see, it's such a tiny shift, and I noticed it in a different domain too. Now, I never really liked dancing. Actually, I pretty much didn't like it, okay? But last year we got married, and I thought, okay, now's the time to start dancing, to learn at least a little bit about dancing, to be able to do like the bridegroom dance, and to just not look like a complete and utter fool on the dancing floor, because at our weddings there is a lot of dancing. So yeah, I started dancing, and my mother is really into dancing. So that's like her thing. That's a thing that has kept her alive. That's a thing that has kept her moving, and it's beautiful and I admire it a lot. It's just not for me, okay? But I said, okay, anyway. Now for this occasion we'll start to practice dancing. And we started like 6 months before the wedding to like get a little bit into the groove of things. And we had the wedding, and it was tough at the beginning, it was very tough at the beginning, but it got better in time. And after the wedding I was like, okay, now I pretty much like dancing in a way that it doesn't mean I love it, but I can do it. And it's an activity that I can do together with my mom. And it's a movement activity, so that also makes me feel like I'm doing something and learning some new patterns and also discovering some new aspects of the body. Why not continue doing it? So I said, okay, let's continue doing it. Then I went for like another 6 months. So right now I have about a year, more than a year actually, of dancing. But now it started getting to me that when I said, okay, there were some occasions where I felt that it became too much. Like, first I was dancing only 1 time a week, then I started doing it 2 times a week, and then I did it kind of 4 times a week, okay? And it was a lot. For a thing that I don't really have a passion about, it was too much. And then I said, okay, I'll have to take some time off, like only go to like 1 training a week. And I started noticing this thing where my mother tried kind of pulling me back into dancing, like more. She was like, come dance more, why aren't you coming today? You should come today, it feels so much better if you go to dancing, and then it's hard until you get there, and once you're there it's easier and stuff like that. And this I think changed some things. Like, to begin with, as I said, I'm not so much into dancing, but I kind of did it because I had a purpose, and then I continued doing it, I think, because of just wanting to get a little bit better. And then when I started pulling back, I noticed this resistance. And this made me not want to go to dancing at all. And it feels like now the response is very strong. Like, I would have had dancing classes yesterday, and the whole day I was thinking about it. I was like, should I go? Shouldn't I go? And a part of my mind was, yes, you should go, definitely. You have to go, because if not, you're losing trainings, you forget things, you don't learn the new moves that they're teaching. And why just throw away the whole year? Just continue so you keep it in memory, you know, right? Like, don't forget it so easily, and basically keep improving. But this thing, like this voice in my head telling me these things, felt so forceful. And they didn't feel like, they felt like you have to suffer. You know, it's hard. You know that it's hard, but you have to suffer. Like, that's the way to improve, that's the way to live life. You have to expose yourself to suffering. And I agree. That's the thing. That's the hardest part, because I agree with this. I really do think that to grow you have to expose yourself to suffering. But there is a fine line. There is a really fine line between exposing yourself to suffering that you want more, and exposing yourself to suffering because you think you have to, or because of peer pressure, or not disappointing somebody. Because this last kind of suffering is is very self-destructive. I feel like it's pulling you away from your core. Because as I said, I didn't like dancing before, but I danced for one entire year and I gave it my best. And then after a year, I find it hard to let go, even though I know it's not something I do with great pleasure. And this kind of fears me. To say terrify might be a little bit too much, but I just understand sort of how much we can change. And I don't know if this change is something that brings us closer to us or pulls us further away from what we want or how much we know of ourselves. But anyway, all in all, I can say that it helped me explore a part of myself and to learn some very important things about life, because dancing is very complex and it teaches you so many things, not just about the movements and about the body. It teaches you about relationship with yourself, with the partner, with the world around you. It's really a great experience. But now I feel like I don't want to have it anymore. And I talked about the voice that said go, but then came the body, and the body was like no. And I really felt this bad feeling in my stomach, like I wanted to just puke. That's how hard my body reacted when I thought about going. And I feel like it became worse when I felt that there was this resistance, like this resistance of not going. When my mom insisted that I would go, and it just made it so much worse. It's I think about it, and it feels so far from reality in a way, because it's a nice thing just to go dancing with a group of people and just hear some music and feel good while doing it, moving, but it also feels wrong. And it also reminded me of a lot of things I had to do as a child because my parents insisted. And it makes me think about how to interact with my child someday. Because on some things I feel like you have to insist, but other things make the joy go away. Yeah. It really turns joy into suffering. And that is something you don't, or at least I don't really want. If I do something, I want to do it because I want to. And in a way, the more the world around me wants me to do that thing, the less I want to do it. And in this case, especially applied to parents, it's even stronger. So I noticed this with visiting my mom and with the dancing lessons. And it's just such a fine thing. Like a lot of time I was struggling to understand what's happening. Why do I have these strong feelings? Why is my body reacting in such an extreme way? Like, as I said, feeling even bad to my stomach, like wanting to puke. And it starts making sense. What now? What now? It just starts making sense, but how do I approach it? How do I continue? I don't know. There are some things that if I continue doing them, it feels like a betrayal to myself, to my wishes, to my body. A lot of times I feel stupid when I talk about these things. And right now I feel really stupid while talking about them. And I feel really ashamed because I recognize these are so little things, and the part of me is screaming like these are champagne problems. And often I imagine like somebody who is listening to this would just laugh because there are, what even is this guy talking about? But the reason why I still do it is because I think that these things run deep. I think that these things are the pink elephant in the room that nobody talks about, but everybody feels. And I think they just keep growing. If you don't talk about it, if you don't recognize it, it just keeps growing. I think during this entire year of dancing, this feeling was there, but I just never addressed it, or I just pushed it away until it became so strong that I just can't push it away anymore. Even if I want to, I just can't. I just got to a point where I just have to think about dancing. And I just feel like, whoa. Crazy. Now the question is, would it have been possible? Weird sentence, but would it be possible, or would it have been possible to have the dancing experience and learn to love it and integrate it more seamlessly into life? Or find or find this beauty in it that would push me to continue to dance. Maybe. Did my mother make it worse? I don't know. I don't want to blame her, you see? Maybe sometimes it seems like I am blaming somebody, but I'm not. I'm just trying to discover what is my response to what happens. And in all this, I'm not blaming anybody. And you know, blaming is not something you want to do. Because if I would start blaming her, like saying, okay, this is her fault, then it would make me kind of incapable of truly healing or of understanding more deeply what is actually happening inside me. In a way, she's helping me discover these things. So I am grateful for that. This didn't feel sincere. Well, looks like I'll have to work with this. And this is a powerful tool, by the way. I discovered it some weeks ago. Gratefulness. What are we grateful for? And usually we're grateful for the good things, but you can also be grateful for the not so good things, for the bad things that happen to you. You can be grateful for an accident. You can be grateful for an illness because it taught you something about you. And it maybe showed you that you were acting in a not so honest way with yourself, or you didn't do what your body needed you to do. And it's the same with people. Like, people sometimes mistreat us. And I think we can work with that. I think that we can be grateful for that. Because as I said, we don't blame them for doing what they did. We try to forgive them and understand, or at least that's what I try, and try to understand what reacted inside of us. I don't know. It feels like sometimes I'm making a science out of this, but I have no idea. Just it's heavy. Like, only talking about it feels heavy. There are a lot of things that we can learn. But but it doesn't feel good. You know, there are so many points during this video where I felt like I wanted to stop recording, where I just felt like this is deep enough, like this is already enough cringe. But also a part didn't feel finished, so I just continued. And there are these heavy moments of silence which are painful, because I feel like I want to say something, like I feel like I want to really put my finger on that exact spot where it hurts the most, but I just can't somehow. It's just, it's so well hidden. It feels like walking through a jungle with like so many grasses and things in front of us. You just have to make way to just see what's behind them. Wow. Like, is this normal? Honestly. Does every human go through this? Does that even matter? I feel like sometimes I reach some points where words just aren't enough anymore. Or they can't really express, or maybe I just don't have the right words to express what is happening inside of me. I'm trying my best. Like right now, I'm feeling like I'm disappointing. Feeling like I'm disappointing because why even bother with all this stuff? And even though I have an explanation for why I do it, maybe sometimes it doesn't feel as a good enough explanation. And I also feel like, why can't I just have a grateful, why can't I be grateful for my parents, for the way they treat me? And logically, I really should be grateful. I really should be extremely grateful, because I know that they care, that they care for me, and that they're doing their best, their utmost best. Well, I don't know if utmost, but and still a part of me feels like I'm not grateful enough. Feels like I'm just telling it to myself. And that makes me feel really guilty and bad, because yeah, being ungrateful, I guess is bad. And sometimes when I think about stuff like this, I just feel like I'm hitting a wall. Like right now my head is hitting this tree, where I just it just all goes blank. It's like you reach a point in your mind where you shouldn't be trespassing. That makes me feel like we're robots. Like you're trying to access your code and you're not meant to. That's kind of how it feels like. But that makes me feel good, actually. Reaching that point of blankness, I feel like I'm going in the right direction. Well, this video turned out way heavier than I thought it would. way heavier. I hope I'm not depressing other people. It's funny, so many thoughts fighting in my head for which I choose to say out loud. And honestly, I don't know what to make of this experience, but I feel better now. I have no idea what happened. I just put my head against this tree and I just stayed with the silence. Then I just said things as honest as possible. Honesty does help. It really does. Wow. It's a weird experience. I recommend it. Go outside and press your head against the tree. Just be honest with yourself. What the fuck, man? Just the next form of therapy. Well, now I can honestly say it. I feel better. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy life. Yeah. Thank you, tree.